Today we are making another family favorite, meatloaf, another recipe from my grandmother, and this is the beautiful life. All right, we are going to jump right into making the meatloaf because we got to get it in the oven so that we can eat at a decent time. I've got my packages of ground beef. And I'm just putting, so this is a quadruple recipe here. I'm making a 5-pound meatloaf. 5-pound meatloaf. 5 pounds of meatloaf. One trick that I like to do is I like to make double than what my family needs at night, and then we'll have lunch for the next day. So then I don't have to figure out a lunch. We can just eat leftovers. And this is a pretty meaty, I guess it's a paleo meatloaf because it doesn't have any like breadcrumbs or anything like that. This is the meatloaf I grew up with my mom making, and so I do it slightly different than she did, but it's still delicious. So I like to kind of like just mash it, get it incorporated, and then I'm gonna wash my hands and add everything and then redo it. I should have taken the meat out earlier from the refrigerator so that it would be a little not as cold, a little warmer, because it can be pretty intense when you are mashing it with your hands. They also do make like a hamburger masher that you can use, but I read recently that has like microplastics in it, so just going with the hands. So it's literally like little plastic pieces. So they recently talked about on, I don't know where I saw this, but about if you use a plastic cutting board, if you use a plastic cutting board in like a year, it's like you eat 3 credit cards or something crazy like that. What? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm probably getting plastic from somewhere. So if I can control where I'm not getting it from, then I'll be less toxic, I guess.
So you don't use any plastic in your cookware?
I try not to. In here, I put a half of an onion, diced finely. You don't have to put it in there. Hey, I'm talking. You guys are being goofers. You don't have to put onion in there. Jessica actually doesn't like it, but the rest of us do, so I put it in there. This is not a recipe for measurements, so you're just gonna put some salt in. Then you're gonna get some liquid smoke. I use the Lazy Kettle brand. There's another brand out there as well that you can do, and I just kind of like put some in. I like to make sure it's pretty flavorful. I mean, you have to remember I'm doing 5 pounds here, so it's quite a bit. Worcestershire sauce. So this one is gluten-free. So we're gluten-free here, so everything that I'm doing is gluten-free. So I get this one, it is your standard. I don't know if you can get it in a local grocery store because I don't ever look because I just buy it from there. Put kind of like equal parts of Worcestershire and liquid smoke. People are probably gonna say like, oh, you're worried about microplastics, but then you're eating liquid smoke. You know, we all pick our battles. For this recipe, what you do need to know, for every 1 pound of beef, you use 1 egg. I have 5 pounds of beef, so I'm gonna put in 5 eggs. Okay, so if you grow your own eggs, you know that it's probably best to crack them into a small bowl before you add them to your recipe, because you can get some gross eggs sometimes. Gross eggs would be fertilized eggs that have started to grow. And sometimes, you know, eggs can just, can have weird issues. I've got my eggs, I've got my onions, my ground beef, my salt, my Worcestershire, and liquid smoke in here. And I'm just gonna mix it all together. Justin is on potato duty because we're having mashed potatoes with it. How this differs from my grandmother's recipe or my mom's recipe, whatever you want to call it, is that they used to mix the salt, onions, ground beef, and eggs together. And then when they put it on their pan, they would poke holes in the ground beef or yeah, like in the mixture, and then pour that over it. But I found that it would sometimes run off and not flavor the meat enough, which is why I started adding it to this recipe, like in the meat, like instead of like pouring it over the top of it. Okay, so this is mixed good enough. Have this pan with a grate on it. You don't have to do the grate, but I find that it helps like the stuff run off, the grease and the coagulated stuff that's gonna form. It's kind of like a football shape is what I do. Kind of form that. Some will fall through the cracks. I don't like to use a loaf pan because I would rather like the stuff run off of it, the grease and stuff, rather. I feel like sometimes like when you put it in a loaf pan, I don't know, and this is the way my family always did it, so this is why I do it like this. I've got my oven on 350. This will be about 45 minutes to an hour. It depends on how done you like it. If you like it well done, obviously it will take longer to cook. If you like it with some pink in the middle, which is kind of how we like it, it could be 45 minutes to 55-ish minutes. So I'm gonna come back and check it with a meat thermometer in 45 minutes and see where we're at. Throw my potatoes in. I'm gonna do a complete meal this time. Our favorite with meatloaf is mashed potatoes, and I think I'm gonna throw some frozen green beans that we preserved from this last summer into a pot and cook those up when it gets time. It's not time yet. One thing that we do on the homestead is the pigs, we feed them all the scraps, and they don't like to eat uncooked potato peels or uncooked potatoes. Like some of these were kind of rotten, so we just didn't use them. What we do is we just put them on in a pot with some water, boil them for like until they start boiling, cook them until they start boiling, turn it off, let it cool down, and then I just pour this whole thing into the pig bucket, and then it's extra nutrition for them, and we would have just thrown that away. Oh,
Fresh green beans.
You got my green beans. Okay. We just literally snapped these and put them in pillowcases. This summer it was kind of crazy, and then we didn't have the time to freeze them properly, which is blanching them. And then I'm just gonna cook them. I'm just gonna shred some cheddar cheese. You can buy the cheddar cheese already shredded in the store, and sometimes I do that because it is convenient. I've been trying to get away from it more just because there's all sorts of anti-caking agents in them, and it's cheaper to buy it in a block. So just in an effort to save money and not have so much plastic also waste that comes with it, I've just been doing that more. I have got all my things. I've got milk. This is our butter. Sometimes I add cream cheese because it tastes yummy. This is the absolute best cream cheese ever. From Azure Standard. I get it from Azure Standard. It's Sierra Nevada, but this is the best cream cheese you will ever taste in your life. It has no gums or anything. It's literally just milk, cream, sea salt, and the ends, like the probiotics and stuff. I cannot believe I just did that. Okay, and then sour cream and then cheddar cheese. So first I'm gonna just mash up the potatoes a little bit. Look at how yellow that is. I think we might have made it back when they were still on grass, because I think these came out of the freezer. I'm gonna pour my cheese in. This is also Sierra Nevada cheese. It's really great. Cheddar cheese, big scoop or two of sour cream, and then some cream cheese. Sometimes I'll pop this back into the oven, like put it in a casserole dish and then put it in the oven. My kids really like that, but I'm gonna see if they'll eat it without baking it a second time and see how they do. This stuff is so good. It's getting crazy in here. It's gotta be done. I think I'm gonna call it. Okay, so see all of this like grease and stuff? It won't be dry inside of it because it's still, you know, juicy or whatever, but like it's not soaked in it.